Welcome to Fantastic Vision. Please subscribe us before you watch today's video. If you always watch our channel, you may know that the news of the US ban on Chinese semiconductor. Science and technology are the primary productive forces. This sentence seems to be outdated in any era. With the rapid rise of China's economy and technology, the gap between China and the United States is gradually narrowing. Among them, in some areas, such as 5G, China has even surpassed the United States and become the global leader in its field. Although the trend of China's rise is irreversible, the United States, as the world's largest technological power, can't sit still. After all, it is used to being the boss. How can it be inferior to others? Therefore, in order to suppress China, the United States and its allies have joined forces to restrict and contain China's high-tech industries and enterprises in many fields. Among them, the semiconductor industry is the focus of Western countries headed by the United States. Since China really started late in this field and has weak technical reserves, it chose the semiconductor industry to start. This move by the United States can be said to hit China's sore spot. As early as Huawei's supply cutoff, the United States has successively updated and issued new export control restrictions against Chinese companies. Up to now, the United States has included more than 1,000 Chinese companies in the so-called Entity List. The Chinese companies in the list cover almost all China's top high-tech companies in various industries. From Huawei in the field of communications and equipment, to Huadao in the biopharmaceutical industry, to the wave of data cloud services, the United States is constantly restricting Chinese companies from obtaining high-performance computing chips, advance the capabilities of computers, specific semiconductor manufacturing facilities and equipment, and related technologies. In the context of today's information age, once the supply of semiconductors and advanced computers is completely cut off, it will be a disaster for high-tech companies. After all, without data calculation and processing tools supported by high-end semiconductors and advanced computers, many necessary scientific researches cannot be carried out. How can we talk about innovation and surpassing? Faced with malicious restrictions, Chinese companies united against the United States. Just after the United States has basically completed the closed-loop blockade of Chinese high-tech companies, especially semiconductor companies, when US-funded chip companies represented by Qualcomm are planning to take advantage of this trend of the Biden administration to further occupy China's semiconductor companies. But they were surprised to find that they were facing huge orders from Chinese companies. Although the global consumer electronics field is indeed in decline, the economy is going down and the market is shrinking. However, as the world's largest gathering place for 5G and digital servers, China still has a huge market demand in the field of terminal semiconductors. In addition, in the fields of new energy vehicles and AI smart devices, Chinese companies are even more world-leading. The occurrence of such a large-scale order cut is not just due to market factors. A large part of the reason for the loss of orders by US-funded companies is that Chinese companies have begun to spontaneously fight back in the face of semiconductor barriers in the United States. The US restrictions on Chinese companies have wiped out the last illusions of Chinese companies about the US. Many domestic semiconductor manufacturers have begun to increase technology research and development. It is to work hard and gain a firm foothold in the field of mature chip manufacturing. In the current market environment of new energy vehicles and AI smart devices, these industries require a large number of mature process chip products, giving domestic semiconductor manufacturers a golden opportunity. Although in the field of high-end process chips, foreign leading chip companies have basically carved up the market, but in the field of mature processes, Chinese companies can not only meet performance requirements, but also have advantages in production scale and delivery speed. As a result, a large number of domestic new energy car companies and AI equipment manufacturers have given priority to purchasing domestic chips and no longer spend a lot of money to import them from abroad. Compared with other countries, one of China's advantages is that it has a complete set of industries and a wide range of industrial categories. Once domestic chips have the ability to replace foreign products, China's strong industrial agglomeration advantages can be immediately transformed into market advantages for domestic products. This is what China is known as the internal circulation. After all, no outsider is left with fat and water, not to mention that this outsider is still thinking about his own field. China takes advantage of asymmetric advantages to counter the United States with rare earth resources. Each country and region has its own unique factor endowments. The United States has chips, and China also has rare earths. Rare earth is not earth, but a variety of precious rare metals. High-tech products, such as chips, are inseparable from rare earth in the production and preparation process. In addition to the civilian field, the role of rare earths is even greater in the military field. From missile aircraft to submarines and warships, rare earths are also used in all high-tech weapons. What makes Americans uncomfortable is that China accounts for more than 70% of the world's rare earth production, and has a sufficiently complete one-stop industrial chain, and has a dominant voice in the field of smelting and processing technology and equipment. Even if foreign companies obtain rare earth minerals from other places, they basically do not have the ability to further process them. They can only be sent to China for processing by Chinese companies. This time, China has included rare earths in the list of export restricted products, and has imposed strict restrictions on related technologies. Before the restriction, in 2022, domestic exports of rare earths and related products reached 112,939 tons. China is extremely dependent. Once China completely cuts off the supply of rare earths, even if it is stronger than the United States, it will have nothing to do. The foreign restrictions on rare earth exports have already attracted a burst of opposition from Western countries, but China can ignore such boring opposition. As the saying goes, coming but not going is indecent. Under the asymmetrical advantage, don't provoke anyone, because no one is easy to provoke.